Hello and welcome to Tech Simplified TV and a very warm welcome to the Semiconductor Podcast. We are back with another exciting episode. And today our guest is Mr. Parikshit Sengupta from Delhi. He is segment head of materials and semiconductor in HORIBA India Private Limited. HORIBA is a Japan-based company and he is basically a business leader from semiconductor ecosystem from manufacturing sector. So in India, our mostly for last 25-30 years, we have concentrated in design sector. And now since we as a country, we have decided to make a resilient ecosystem in manufacturing sector, it's become more important to talk about different aspect of it. So today our concentration will be what kind of work Horiba is doing with respect to R&D, development of ecosystem and workforce development, and obviously his journey. We will learn about all of these things. So let please join me to welcome him. Thank you, Mr. Sengupta, for joining us. It's for us, many of us, it will be a very nice journey to know about this sector because personally I am from design sector. I have very little idea about what happens in the manufacturing sector. So nowadays I'm trying to know it more because manufacturing is the new hot thing in the domain of Indian semiconductor ecosystem. And thank you for accepting our invitation. You are a segment head of a company leading a business unit, leading a big team. Thank you for accepting our invitation and appearing to our podcast.
Thank you, Munmu. Thank you so much to you, and thank you so much to Tech Simplify TV. I think it's in terms of bringing different leaders of different aspects and into such kind of podcast. It really gives an opportunity for people like us to talk about the journey, to talk about semiconductor, and really how things are really moving from Indian context, which is very important for everyone to know. Thank you so much for starting this kind of activities, and I'll be very open, and whatever I know, whatever I understand of the semiconductor is a huge field. Whatever my organization does as HORIBA India Private Limited, a part of the HORIBA group, I will try to explain each and everything. Thank you.
Okay, so I will ask you my first question. I will request you uh, that please share your journey. Okay, you have started your career in service and sales role. Then what drew you to toward the semiconductor and scientific manufacturing? Because manufacturing is semiconductor itself was quite rare in India, and most people are very much aware about IT and especially manufacturing and sales of it. It's completely very unusual, very unusual domain. How you selected it, and with years you are continuing in this domain. Please share your journey with us.
Yeah, thank you. I think a little bit I should go to the background. So I'm basically from Assam, from a remote village of Assam. I started my journey into engineering, into technology, and then while I landed up in Delhi, uh, I started my role as sales and service, as you rightly mentioned. Uh, I think thanks to my organization, HORIBA India Private Limited and the HORIBA Group, I should say, this organization has given me an opportunity to explore this semiconductor. And when we say semiconductor, it's a vast field, right? And when we talk of HORIBA, HORIBA is a very important and a critical player into the ecosystem of the semiconductor process. So when we mean or when we talk of semiconductor, we talk about the chip manufacturing. We talk about the front end fabs that are coming up in a very strong way in India. But HORIBA plays a very important role and critical role in the ecosystem, which actually helps in the development of those chips or helps in the production or manufacturing of those chips. So while I landed up in India, coming back to your question, I think this attracted, or this probably the semiconductor field attracted me a lot, and I got an opportunity to learn a lot of things, a lot of technologies, what HORIBA is exploring, or I should say has got unique in terms of which can be really a game changer for the semiconductor industry. There has been a lot of game changing situations which HORIBA has done at the global level. now is the time for India. It is the time for India to see how those technologies and things can come in terms of manufacturing, in terms of the ecosystem development in India. So I find myself to be very fortunate coming from a state like Assam, from a remote village, and coming and landing up in India, being part of the semiconductor ecosystem and materials, and leading the materials and semiconductor division of HORIBA. I really feel myself privileged and happy uh, to really support this ecosystem and be part of this India growth story.
Okay. So, so those who are listening, is there any echo sound? No. So, if you find any kind of echo sound, just let me know, okay? Um, because it's a live echo or some noise can appear. So, those who are aspiring big from remote village, I think it's a very nice story. His life story, Mr. Sengupta's life story, will inspire you a lot. So now, I mean, India is now seriously stepping into semiconductor manufacturing. So, how different does the ecosystem feel today when you started? What difference you find?
Okay. See, Munmun, I'll give you two aspects to it. One aspect is that uh, HORIBA is into a lot of things. Semiconductor is one part of it. We are into medical, we are into automotive. So this automotive, medical, we are almost 20 years old in India when I talk of HORIBA India. Uh, and let me tell you, the semiconductor division of HORIBA India started few years back. Why it started few years back? To answer, if I answer this question, you'll understand that how the ecosystem has developed over the years. India, coming, if I talk from the broader perspective, India tried to enter into the semiconductor field or chip manufacturing long time back. We had the SCL Chandigarh, which took the first initiative of building the chips in India, right? A lot of things went by, the waters rolled by a lot. We made a lot of efforts, but it did not succeed. But the most important thing that I see today, I find today, is the intent of the government of India. The way the government is supporting the development of the chip manufacturing system and the ecosystem continuously is really encouraging for industries or organizations like HORIBA to really jump into it. We are fully motivated. And if you look at people like me across the industry, so many people or so many organizations across the industry, if you look and talk to them, they see a positive intent from the government of India. And anywhere across the world, wherever the ecosystem has developed or such kind of chip manufacturing process has developed, the support of the government has been immense. Without the support of the government, it cannot develop. So if I look at 15, 20, 30 years back, and if I look at now, I think the biggest change maker is the government, which is continuously supporting this kind of systems and processes to develop. So I believe this is one of the most important thing when I started looking at the industry from a decade back, and when I look at it right now, this is the most visible change, and which is inspiring organizations like ours, people like us, to come full-fledged front in such kind of processes and ecosystems.
Okay, so you are closely working with customers and labs. So, what foundational strengths does India already have that support semiconductor manufacturing?
Very good question, I should say, because things cannot happen overnight, but possibly to start a thing and probably from the scratch, I think there are some foundational things which are important. What I see or what we observe as a part of this system, because we closely work with a lot of educational institutions, with a lot of R&D initiatives which are there in India, a lot of labs from that perspective. The talent is there, right? The intent is there because of the push from the government, because of the support from the government of India. The talent is there, the intent is there, right? And this is the most and important thing to start any project. Whatever project we take up at our daily life or on a technical aspect, I think the intent is the most important thing. So that intent and probably the support is there at this point of time at the educational lab. And now if you see a lot of money is coming from the government, a lot of money is being pumped in for development of the infrastructure, which will really give a good push to this I should say research and laboratories to bring out the quality people from those domains, right? Who can actually support in building this ecosystem or building this chip manufacturing ecosystem. Munmun, one more important thing, as you rightly mentioned at the starting of the discussion, that you are from the design, you have come from a design background. We have been doing designing not from today, I think for the last 30-40 years. You are aware of it, Bangalore being one of the hub, I should say. 30 more than 30% of the chip designing across the globe, we see all the biggies like the TSMCs, the PSMCs, Intel, Samsung, whosoever we talk of. The design aspect happens here, the chip designing happens in India. But we have been unfortunate, I should say, that from going from designing to manufacturing to packaging, I think that ecosystem or that ecosystem was not getting developed, right? So now I think that has started, and that is really giving a good, I should say, motivation to the R&D centers, to the educational institutions, to really push in and make it more functional and make the people more motivated towards to be a part of this journey. I call it a journey. We call it a journey. I think this is very important for all of us to be part of this journey to make it successful.
Um, if we compare India's manufacturing journey with the more mature ecosystem in the West and East, how do you see India's growth trajectory today? And how do you think it may evolve over the next decade?
Good. I think you rightly put across the point, and you mentioned the word decade. Yes, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. I have been to Taiwan, which is the semiconductor capital of the world, right? I have seen their technology park, how it has developed and it has not developed in a day. It took 20-30 years for that technology park to develop, right? And if you look at uh, uh, the TSMCs, the PSMCs, the global leaders in that direction, in that field, right? It's so beautiful, but it looks beautiful. It was not beautiful maybe 30 years back. They were all trying, growing in that direction. I feel that I have been to Japan. I have seen, being a Japanese organization, I have been to Japan. I have seen the semiconductor movement happening. I have seen probably how their ecosystem has developed over the years and how matured they are at this point of time. But one thing I can say, that we are in the right trajectory. Why? Two aspects. Again, let me appreciate the government of India from that aspect. They are really putting a lot of efforts in bringing the people together. In order to be in the right trajectory, I think the set of people, from the design aspect, from the manufacturing aspect, from the packaging aspect, right? Everybody needs to be together on the same ground, right? And that is probably the initiative which the current government took maybe a couple of years back, in terms of uh, announcing the India Semiconductor Mission, right? Announcing the incentive packages, right? I think that itself speaks volumes of the trajectory that we are into. And you already know probably, and we can also discuss the ISM 2, the India Semiconductor Mission 2, in terms of the incentive plans, has already been rolled out by the Honorable Finance Minister. And maybe in a month's time or so, we will see real, I should say, incentive plans being rolled out. And people like us, we will be jumping onto that, to how to actually make it count and make India sustainable from that perspective. So we are at all in the right trajectory, no doubt about that. Uh, and I think it's a matter of maybe by decade we will be much more influential. But I think year on year we will be seeing a lot of positive things happening, and we'll be doing it faster compared to the other European countries have done in the past, or the Eastern countries have done in the past. We'll do it much faster, that I can see, or I can
Okay.
visualize.
Okay, as you have mentioned about ISM 2, so my next question is actually based on budget 2026. So the
Yeah.
Union Budget 2026 continues to emphasize manufacturing technology and deep tech ecosystem. From an industry perspective, how important is long-term policy continuity for a sector like semiconductor?
I think very important. If you look at China today, if you look at the semiconductor growth in China, it has been fully dependent on the support from the government of China. And I think because of that, you can see probably the drastic changes which has happened in China. They've started from manufacturing. They are into real-time research and development, right? They're giving good fight to US. You might be seeing the geopolitical situation happening. So the government funding and the government, I should say, policies are so important in defining. The government policies should have two aspects, and which you can see right now. It is there itself. The government policies should have the manufacturing aspect, what you call the front end manufacturing, the chip manufacturing, what we call it in a very simple terminology. And the government policy should have the ecosystem development policies. When you say ecosystem, so we HORIBA, we come from that ecosystem, right? As an ecosystem player, there are gas manufacturers, right? There will be, I should say, chemical manufacturers, right? There will be component manufacturers. So I think all these people are very important and critical, right, for the final chip manufacturing. So if you look at the government policies right now, it is spread out into two aspects. They are financing, or probably they are putting funds for the chip manufacturers like Tata's, as you can see. They're putting funds for the OSAT and manufacturers, ATMP and OSAT, like the Microns, the HCL. I think you might be seeing in India chip, the HCL Foxconn venture. Such kind of lot of ventures are being funded. I think 8 to 10 right now. And now they have started funding and really motivating the ecosystem players to put in their efforts. And I think it's the real it's a really good combination as far as the policies are concerned. And I individually am very satisfied with the policies that are coming up at this point of time.
As you have mentioned multiple time about ecosystem player, HORIBA is a ecosystem player, and you are mentioning that gas manufacturer, component manufacturer. So is it so? I just want to understand that HORIBA brings together all the required player for to build a chip or to build the ecosystem. Is it the main role of
No,
HORIBA?
no. So HORIBA, let me a little bit explain about what role we play in semiconductor. So HORIBA manufactures some of the very critical components. So one of them, if I talk of, is the mass flow controller. So this mass flow controller, we have more than 70% market share in the semiconductor world, right? Now, this mass flow controller is one of the most critical component for the tool makers. Who are the tool makers? The big tool makers we talk of, the applied materials, the Lam research, those big players I'm talking of, right? So at the global level, we supply mass flow controller is just one of the product. We have the entire set of components, right, which can actually help in building the right tool for the big players or the tool makers like Applied Material and Lam Research, right? So we have a set of components which are supplied to the big tool makers, and these tool makers are supplying to the big players like the Tatas. So this is how the system works. And Tata, people like Tata, they will be using those kind of tools, right? Those kind of equipments for their chip manufacturing process. Let me give a more detailed explanation. PSMC. We know that the PSMC is going to and PSMC is the technology partner for Tata, right? And the Fab, they call it Fab 10. The Fab 10 of PSMC is going to get replicated in Tata with higher, I should say, technological advancement. Now, we are a constant supplier to PSMC. HORIBA is a continuous and constant supplier to PSMC in terms of components, right? So, when the entire fab of PSMC gets replicated in Tata with little bit of more advancement, right, we are going to play the most critical role in this ecosystem of component supply. Now, similar to us, there will be gas suppliers, right? There will be chemical suppliers, right? There will be a lot of, I should say, small subsystem suppliers, and then the entire factory or the entire Tata, the big dream that we are all seeing together of the first chip coming out. Then the entire vehicle is going to move, and the chip is going to come. So it's a small correlation. It's the entire vehicle is Tata. We are supplying, say, for example, the tires, right? Just an example I'm saying. Somebody is supplying the window shield, somebody is supplying the glasses. So then the entire vehicle is coming out. So what I wanted to mean is that without the tire, the car cannot move, right? Without your seat, without the seat, or without the engines, without your ICUs, the car cannot move. So each and every players are so important, so critical, and that is where the policies of the government are being laid out in such a way that you get an incentive, or you get incentivized for making the vehicle, making the car. You also get incentivized for making the tires in India, for making the engines in India, for making the ICUs in India, for making the glasses in India, the vehicle glasses, what I'm talking of. So I think that is where the policies are so important, and we are closely working with ISM when it comes to any inputs they need from us. We give our inputs as an organization. We give our inputs to Aisha, India Electronic Semiconductor Association. We are also closely. So I think from all that perspective, we feel that things are in the right direction, and Horiba is playing its role, whatever global role we have played. We are also trying to play the similar role when it comes to India.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So we-
yes, it's a complex system. Whole ecosystem is really complex, and that's why it's so intriguing at the same time, isn't it? If a thing is really easy, then why it will
exactly,
it will
exactly.
attract you for a long period of time. People can easily get bored. At least I look at the thing in that way. I love complex things,
No,
complicated.
and
It's a good time to understand a complicated system.
yeah, I think
Work.
we should understand why am I saying Munmun is so important, because uh, there is a background noise, I think. It's okay. So Munmun, the why it is important for all of us to understand and move, because if you look at the future that is coming, it is all going to be on chip, right? If you look at the geopolitics happening, it's all because of the chips, right? It's all because of the electronics. It's all because of the semiconductor. It's all because of the AI, right? And I think we as a country has no other option other than move in that direction if we want to really become a Viksit Bharat, or our honorable Prime Minister talking of 2047 to be to India to become, to become a world number one in that direction. So I think we have no other option other than moving in that direction. So I think it's the right time, right questions being asked, right things being discussed, and I think these kind of platforms are so important and critical to create those awareness among the people. I look at it in that way.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to tell you one thing, that I always believe that what oil, the kind of role oil played to the Middle East, cheap and technology, deep tech can play same thing to India. It's my own conviction, isn't it? Right? I mean, am I drawing right analogy?
Of course. Why am I you're drawing the right? Because we have all the ingredients. If you have to make the right thing, you need the ingredients. I think we have all the ingredients. We have the intent from the government to the people to the organizations. I think what we need to do right now is to move forward, and I believe we are moving forward in the right direction. Yes, it's just a matter of time, but the intent is there, and possibly it will definitely happen more quickly than we are all expecting.
Okay, that's a good news. Even one thing that so, in your view, what does a fully grown semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem look like? We have never seen in India. Just what is a full grown ecosystem? Like,
So
what kinds of companies, capabilities, and partnerships need to come together for it to sustain itself?
yeah. So I think during the course of our discussion, I mentioned about Taiwan. So Taiwan is basically the semiconductor capital of the world. We all know it, right? Because of TSMC. If you go to Taiwan, they have built up this technology park, Taiwan Technology Park, right? And the same thing what we are trying to build up in Dholera, what government of India is trying to build up in Dholera in Gujarat, right? So a complete semiconductor ecosystem will happen only when you have the designing, you have the manufacturing, you have the packaging, and of course packaging involves your testing and all these things, and you have the customers, right? You need to have all this entire thing. So we were there in designing, right? We were always in requirement of such kind of chips. We have seen during the COVID times we suffered a lot our vehicles, because these are all chip based vehicles right now, right? So we have the end users, the customers, right? Of course there will be some global customers, but if you look at Tata, what they're trying to manufacture right now is trying to suffice their current requirement, what they have in Tata vehicles or Tata Motors, what they have right now. This is one of the discussions, or internally Tata is what trying to do. Now what is left is the manufacturing, chip manufacturing, which Tata is doing. Then the packaging, Tata is already has their setup in they're setting up in Jagi Road in Assam. They're setting up with their packaging, ATMP packaging for that, right? So this is the ecosystem where the chip manufacturing will happen. In continuation of players like us, like HORIBA, like the gas manufacturers, the chemical manufacturers, the subsystem players, right? The design. I think all these people needs to be at the same place at the same time at the same location, and that is what we can see so beautifully in Taiwan. What they have done, they have brought everything under the same umbrella, right? And that is how, right from the manufacturing to the final product or final outcome, what is coming out, the packaged chip, right? Whatever is coming out at one pace at the same location, and that is why they are being considered as the global leaders or the semiconductor capital. So I think what we are trying to do in Dholera, you'll see in Dholera this that entire ecosystem is building up, and that is the effort of the government as well as the players are in the same direction. So it will be a dream come true for all of us if what we will be seeing in Tolera in our lifetime. If we in maybe in couple of years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we will be seeing an ecosystem developing, and it has to develop, and it will develop. I can say that uh, we will be physically will be seeing it, and I think then probably rather than me explaining it, I think this will be a real situation where we will be experiencing it once we visit that location.
Okay. So I'll move to my next question, that
Yeah.
semiconductor manufacturing relies heavily on materials, characterization, and process control. So, how do these areas support reliable and scalable manufacturing, especially in a developing ecosystem like India?
I think it's a very good question pertinent to Horiba, because Horiba has got the characterization tools, right? We're one of the reputed manufacturers of the characterization tools. Materials today, we don't have any material manufacturers in India, but the basis of any chip manufacturing is the material, right? Today you might hear that there are so many 2D materials are being manufactured, right? Diamonds are being used to make to be used in the semiconductor field, in the electronics field, right? So I think the first genesis is the materials, the material manufacturing. To ensure this these materials are of the best of quality, you need the characterization tools, right? So we at Horiba, we are into characterization tools. We have our systems which can do the characterization of those materials and ensure that these materials are rightly used for the semiconductor process or for the chip manufacturing, right? So I believe uh, in a developing ecosystem like India, again, material manufacturers must be present. The characterization players, the characterization equipment manufacturers like Horiba, we are already present. We are present in India for the last 20 years, and I believe the process control is has to develop equally along with these processes. So very important for the entire ecosystem to run, that these kind of processes are getting built up, and Horiba can play a very important and critical role into all these aspects, uh, right from right from the material to the characterization to the process control.
Okay. So now my next question is a little bit about Horiba. Like, as companies like Horiba India works closely with fabs, R&D centers, and institutions, how do you see industry partners enabling India's manufacturing readiness?
Munmun, it is so important for organizations like Horiba to be involved in the ecosystem of the country. Leave aside semiconductor is coming, will be coming, nobody can stop it, but the background to the semiconductor, right, is the educational institutions, because there only the manpowers are going to get developed, right? So if I say today Horiba is so much I should say pertinent in the entire ecosystem or in the educational society, I should say we are a well-known name for our characterization tools like the Raman systems, the fluorescence spectrometer, right, the PL systems, the particle size analyzer. There are n number of products we have. In addition to that, we have uh, tie-ups with the reputed institutions like ISC Bangalore, where we have our own characterization tool setup, right, in a small lab over there, where we give a open opportunity to the students to come and do their material characterization. They come with different 2D materials, different semiconductor materials, different solar materials. So why only semiconductor? Solar is also an upcoming is also growing in India like anything. So there are solar materials. So we have that platform in ISC Bangalore as well as in IIT Delhi, where we are closely working with those educational institutions with their R&D centers and helping the students to uh, develop or probably characterize more materials, more components, right? And let me also tell you one thing very happily I can say that HORIBA India has just acquired a new organization by the name of Pristine Deep Tech in Ahmedabad, right? That organization is also working towards R&D of advanced materials, how to use diamond as an advanced material into the semiconductor process, right? So we are also working, and this is the start of R&D, research and development in India, right? For HORIBA, I'm saying, for HORIBA, I'm saying. So we are working closely with all the academic institutions, I should say, with our products and solutions. We are trying to build up our R&D collaborations with few of the reputed ones where the semiconductor research is happening, where the quantum research is happening, where the solar research is happening. We are trying to closely work with some of the institutions or R&D centers where there can be a co-development of some components, some solutions for the semiconductor. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to motivate the students, we are trying to engage with the students, we are trying to show them that what the real world is like. And this is something which is so important, and we as I can proudly say that we as HORIBA India, we are doing those right things and ensuring that that the students gets motivated and really follows the semiconductor trajectory, semiconductor process, right? And finally they build upon their career in that direction.
Okay. Yes, I have noticed few news online about collaboration of R&D and Horiba
Yeah,
collaboration between these two. Yes, I have followed few news.
thank you.
So, with fabs expected to come up in phases, how important it is to build local application knowledge and service capability alongside physical infrastructure.
Good question. See, before uh, Tata, means once Tata decided to come for this for their facility in Dholera, we were one of the start early people who were called upon to. Tata wanted to understand how you are going to provide services to us, because that's the most important thing. Okay, your my products are coming, my components are getting purchased by Tata for putting into their fab line. Everything is happening, fantastic. The products are happening, the infrastructure is happening. But it is so important. The first question they asked us that how you are going to give the services. So if I talk of HORIBA, we have a well-defined process in terms of the service capability. And if I talk for any organizations who are trying to come to India, I think the service capability and the application capability is of primary importance. I can proudly say that we have good application capability here in India for HORIBA India. We have application scientists who are working in that direction, who are actually who are already aligned in that direction. We are trying to grow it more, eventually to help the academic institutions and also to the chip manufacturers like the Tatas or anybody who is actually working in that direction for the application perspective. And service is the key. So we already have since as a global organization, we know what kind of services are required to be done, right? What kind of, it's not a new thing for us. So, and I believe not only for HORIBA, you look at any of the organizations who will be ultimately coming to India as a part of the ecosystem, right? There are a lot of Japanese players who will be coming, a lot of Taiwanese players who will be coming, a lot of Singapore players who will be coming in India, European players will be coming to India. I believe it will not be something new for them. They already have the global exposure and understanding. It's the only simple thing of replicating their global experience and exposure in India, right? So that they can really support the ecosystem. And I believe without this support of service and application, again, this ecosystem cannot develop, and the finally the chip manufacturing cannot become a reality. So manpower development is also a very critical part of this entire semiconductor story that we are listening, hearing. And the government is also very focused. I must say the government is also very focused in that direction.
Hmm. Yes, and I expect a few of them land in eastern part of the India, in
Absolutely.
Kolkata, Patna, Bhubaneswar, Ranchi,
Yeah.
in eastern
Yes.
part. Few of them at least land here. We also
No,
want something.
no, I'm saying Bhubaneswar is really, Odisha is really
It's
coming
booming.
up. I mean, it's
Yes,
booming.
today I was talking to one of my junior uh,
Yeah.
from college and university. She is a scientist basically. So she was speaking about it. She was saying, okay, one day you must come here, just see what is happening all around. So she is in
We,
Bhubaneswar.
in fact, Murmur, just to add to that, in fact, we are very closely working with IIT Bhubaneswar, IOP Bhubaneswar, those kind of institutions who are going to be the base, skill development base for any kind of industry to come up in that direction. Even IIT Guwahati also, we are closely working. We are working with IIT Kharagpur also, we are working, right? I think uh, if if the intent of the government, I should say central government intent is very clear, no doubt about that. If the state government intents are or if they can really move in that positive direction, right, of building up that infrastructure in terms of physical infrastructure as well as the manpower infrastructure, if they can really focus on that, I think the entire world will come to support them. That this I can say with my experience and knowledge, I can say that companies are ready to support. And if there is an intent, if there is an infrastructure, if there is something being laid down, I think people will work, will be ready to work in that direction. No doubt about that.
And the special eastern side has a scope to grow. I mean, it's not like that. Western part is already grown, so we are quite lagging behind. So if something happened, like Bhubaneswar is already picking it up, and now like Patna, it has just started. So
They have also
even
declared the semiconductor program. But Bihar has also declared that in the recent budget, they have
yes,
also
recently
declared.
I have done a orientation program for 1 week along with IIT Patna. So I was yes, that thing started to grow bit by bit. It will take time because I mean you cannot move very fast when the lag of few decades is there. You have to move slowly.
No,
Eventually,
like
it will happen.
I
So I
believe
hope.
in one. I believe in one thing, Munmun. If you look at the interstate uh, positive competition, is going to help it. You have now Gujarat, you have now Karnataka, you have now Tamil Nadu, you have things happening in Maharashtra. So I believe things happening in Assam, in Orissa. So I think this is a good positive, I should say, thing which is happening, the interstate competition. And I believe each
Absolutely.
state,
Yes,
each
and
state can
absolutely.
do.
We must get inspired by the other state who has already moved forward, and we can follow their steps. There is nothing being ashamed of it because it's very much part of our country. So, if we can get inspired by our own people, that's the best thing, isn't it? I always believe that. So my next question is again about budget 2026. Like budget 2026 also highlights skill development and industry academia collaboration. In your view, how can this collaboration be made more effective for semiconductor manufacturing?
So what we are doing right now, let me tell what Horiba is trying to do at this point of time. As I already mentioned to you, that we have two labs, application labs in ISC Bangalore and IIT Delhi, where we are collaborating with the students and giving them first-hand knowledge about the product, the technology, and what exactly lies in the real world. Right, from lab, we call it from lab to fab. Right, it's a very nice terminology we are using at the global level, from laboratory to the fab. Right, so I think this journey is very important for the equipments to make, right, and for the students to make, right, because practical knowledge and experience is important. I believe the what Horiba is trying to do is to develop such kind of labs across the country with the support of the academic institutions, right? So I have already spoken to many of the ecosystem players, right? What we are trying to do together, and probably someday it will be successful soon, we are trying to develop not only a Horiba lab. The idea is basically to see if we can develop a whole ecosystem lab, right, in different educational institutions, right, of repute, or the places where the fabs are coming, or the ATMs, the packagings are coming, right, it can be developed. I think this can be the best thing which can happen. And the academic institutions are well supported by the government right now. They're getting funding for that. We are in talks with few of the academic institutions for building up such kind of ecosystem fab, prototype fab, right, which can actually help the students to really learn the products from the very nascent and basic stage. Because eventually, if they are looking for a career into the semiconductor, they need to see the things, the same kind of things at their own laboratory only, and that is how they would learn from it, understand from it, and move ahead. So we are very much, I should say, open and advanced towards. We have some advanced level discussions with IIT Mumbai also, which is happening. They're also trying to set up some skill development lab there. We are connected with them. We are in touch with IIT Guwahati. We are in touch with some of the institutions in South, right? So I think it's just a matter of time where things are starting to take some shape. And in terms of importance, I think you asked the right question, that government is very much in sync. They are investing, they're ready to invest, they're looking for proposals. If somebody comes up with a good proposal of building a prototype lab in any of the institutions, I think funding should not be an issue from that perspective. And that is how, also just to add one more point, that is how the developed countries, or the countries who have really done fantastic in the semiconductor, have done. You look at Singapore, you look at Japan, you look at Taiwan. If you go and have a look at their academic institutions, it's so fulfilling to see that it is all flooded with such kind of prototype labs, which has actually helped them to develop a value chain of students coming up from those institutions and really contributing into the real world of semiconductor processes.
Okay. So, what kind of practical exposure or mindset do you think is most valuable for engineers who want to work close to fabs and manufacturing line?
I think the most important thing, Munmun, is the practical approach. See, I myself is from an engineering background, and when I look at, and I did that 20 years back. When I look at when I look at and I've seen in the last 10, 15 years, I've seen some of the best labs of the country in all the IITs, right? I think things have changed a lot, right? Most important thing is to have the infrastructure available for the students, and give a mindset to the engineers to be more practical oriented. The students should be more practical oriented. They should be knowing the real world more in advance, right, rather than coming out of the engineering college, and when they enter the industry, they come to know, oh, ऐसा भी है, it is something like that. No, I think they should be getting a touch and feel of the practical products, solutions, which they will actually go and see in the academic, in the industry. I think this gap is there was a huge gap when I was doing, right, or maybe my people of maybe 15, 20 years, 20, 25 years, they were doing whatever they were seeing in the in the industry, and whatever they have seen out of their college, there was a gap, huge gap. But fortunately, this gap has slowly started to diminish. The academic institutions are becoming more practical from the perspective of giving more practical knowledge to the students, making them more capable in order to really try and approach for a job. And if such kind of labs are there in the academic institutions, people or the students get motivated. They get more interested to join the specific industry, be it semiconductor or solar or quantum, anywhere, any industry, or even software, whatever. So the before changing the mindset of the students or the engineers, I think if the labs are being made of that level, of that stature, I think automatically the mindset of the people will start changing. And I think then again, you're building a small ecosystem there, which will eventually help us in the long run of getting skilled manpower.
Um, when I was doing the orientation program, I was giving them an idea about ASIC flow, and there is a step called electromigration. So when I was explaining what is electromigration, so students were a little bit, they were very quiet. So I said, "Don't worry, you are listening to it before joining the industry." In case of what happened to me and Mridul when I came to know about electromigration in 2012 or 11, when Mridul was working on something in TI, their project in on electromigration. He had a work to do on electromigration. Then we came to know what is electromigration. So we were part of Intera. So our manager, he conveyed the message to the higher management, and from there they asked, Mridul, can you explain what is the physics for the freshers? So he prepared one ppt of few slides, and not revealing any because we are under nda, any strict data. So just explain what is electromigration, and he prepared it with just following few research paper and books kind of. So that time we are working as engineer, that time we came to know about electromigration. And now so after we shared the experience, and then they say okay. So I mean, it happens that the person who is guiding, she herself didn't know before working it. So it happens, the gap is, yes, it's
But
decreasing.
the gap is diminishing, which is more,
Mm.
I think, the positive way of looking at it. The
Yes, obvious.
curriculums are changing. If the curriculums are changing, I know people at the AICT level who are trying to change the who are trying to put this, or it will be put in a period of time, the semiconductor, a more practical semiconductor syllabus are going to get put into the engineering field, right? There are going to be BTech degrees for semiconductor, especially, right? I think things have started to move, and possibly industries like us, we are so happy, or will be more than happy to collaborate in such kind of changes, the moment it happens from the government level. So that is why I'm saying, Munmun, the entire when I say ecosystem, it is not only the chip manufacturing ecosystem. When I say ecosystem, I mean from the mindset, right from the mindset to the practical exposure, to the practical experience, to the people going and actually working for the industry. I think everything has to change. That is so important, right from the change in the syllabus, in the curriculum, right, the funding from the government, the organizations, the players like us, the bigger players like the tatas who are actually making the change. So I think everybody needs to put in their efforts, and then only I think things will move. And probably it has started to move, it is moving. We are seeing changes happening. We are seeing people taking interest, and that is where I feel the students will automatically, the mindset that you are talking of, I think this is a automatic process, or it's a continuous process. Once they see things happening in front of them, once they see the labs are getting upgraded to such kind of prototype labs, for be it for tool making, or be it for your packaging, or be it for your chip, I think if they can really see and experience those components or products, I think they will be really interested to go into that direction. And it's
Exactly.
important.
A physical touch and feel kind of thing, if they
Yes.
get that. Otherwise it become too abstract for them to imagine. It's imagination doesn't work in that way, no. If they can see some components, how it's they can if they are able to work on making prototype and all, then only they will get attracted to the industry.
Absolutely.
Already, already, if anyone joining electronics or specifically semiconductor, the basic syllabus to enter, it's huge. We need something to motivate them also, right? Who wants to
Exactly.
study so hard?
True, very true. The need of the hour. Yeah.
Yeah, it's need of the hour. And now, and my last two questions, I have already covered 11 questions. My last two question is based on about freshers. Like, many freshers are excited about semiconductor manufacturing, but they are not very sure. They are unsure where to start. So, what guidance would you give to young engineers who want to enter the manufacturing side of semiconductor?
I think some of the part Murmur already answered, and maybe I'll repeat and then I'll go to the aspect what the engineers should do. Probably, as I mentioned, it has to start from the college level. The curriculum, the course needs to change, where the students feel that it is an important subject to study, it's an important subject to understand. And once they see the practical aspect of that subject into their laboratories, they'll be more interested, and they will be more motivated to really go in detail or in depth of it, right? That is one aspect. To the young engineers, or to the people who are thinking where to start, my only uh, probably suggestion will be to start from the basic, right? What is basic? I think here, I think the mind has to start thinking that this is the future. This is the future, what is coming up. We have seen the period of its, right? We have seen the period of automotives, right? It's still there, I'm not saying no, but I think the growth aspect, from the growth aspect, if you talk of semiconductor, you talk of AI, These are the things you talk of quantum. So these are the things which are picking up. And one thing I can very surely say that this is the future, and we as India, as a country, we are in the right phase of the growth, right? We are growing as a country. Our GDPs are growing. If you go to Europe, you go to Japan, hardly they are 1 or 2%, but we are still steadily going 6 to 7%, right? We have the we have the we have the government which is actually focused towards investing into such kind of semiconductor processes, right? Or AI also, right? Whatever you say. So I believe that this itself should be a source of motivation for the people, for the engineers, that we are in the right country, we are in the right phase of the country, we are at the right place, right? And probably with the curriculums changing, with the investments coming, with the practical laboratories being built up, right? I think we are at the right place. So nothing to think too much, not to think too much, just go ahead with your courses, go ahead with your curriculums, uh, go on exploring the news, what you see, what you hear in the different medias about semiconductor. And I believe that you will automatically get interested into that. And once you get interested, I think then probably we need not say what should be their guidance. I think they themselves will really understand. Today we don't need to tell an automobile engineer what they have to do, or what lies in from them, what lies for them. You say India is one of the biggest manufacturers of automobiles, be it two-wheelers or four-wheelers, right? So everybody knows where to go. I think important is that at the top level, at the middle level, at the basic level, if the infrastructures are getting built up, students, engineers will automatically get motivated, or will get guided, right? Today, Munmun, why we are discussing this, maybe after 5 years we may again sit down and we can discuss on the same questions. You'll see your questions will be changed, completely changed. Today, if you talk of the professors, you talk of the teachers, you talk of the students, that much of exposure is not there, unfortunately, right? But I think the moment you have everything being built up, you will see they are automatically guided. The professors are able to guide, and the students are automatically guided what they need to do, how they need to do. And that will be a fantastic situation for all of us as a country, towards that path of being the number one semiconductor country.
Even before 5 years, I would expect a manufacturing unit, any kind of manufacturing unit will come up in West Bengal, and that time Horiba will, as a representative of Horiba, you will visit
Yeah,
Kolkata for that purpose, and we will sit again and talk about what is going to happen in Kolkata. Now it's my concentration is about, okay, we can expect something in Eastern India. That time I will only concentrate about Kolkata.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
can have right to be a little bit partial from the
Yeah,
eastern
yeah,
side of India because we are lagging behind, and I'm right now I'm staying in Kolkata.
of course, of course. Why not?
Anyway, jokes apart, obviously we
Yeah,
will sit together again because with phases things will change. With different phases will coming the way. I mean, the growth is, it seems, a kind of logarithmic.
yeah.
It's more we are moving, it's getting faster, the steps are closer, and we are moving faster. Yes, and my final question is that if a fresher, we expect 40% of 40 to 50% views comes from freshers. So is watching this episode today, any one habit, skill or attitude you'd suggest them to develop early to build a long term career in semiconductor manufacturing? Any habit?
I think I'll suggest here two habits. One habit is try to learn, try to read about these things, what is happening in the country. Because I think with this habit of reading about the what is happening in the news, how India is progressing into semiconductor, you will get motivated. You will see that there lies the future, right? It's so important to understand this particular technology, the different processes and steps of technology. So wherever you get, be it the newspaper, be it your digital media, social media, anywhere, I think read about what is this all about, right? How it's happening, right? Discuss with your peers, discuss with your friends, right? I think that is the most important. See what happened before, if I say before 1947, right? Before we got the independence, how the momentum was only because there were discussions all about that you have to achieve the freedom, right? So I think that, drawing an analogy, this is the phase where we should talk about semiconductor, we should discuss about semiconductor, we should probably see how lot of more people can be engaged into this process and everything. So read about it. That is one thing. The second thing is consistency. We have to be consistent. When I say consistent, it means there will be failures in the path. It is India took 30, 40 years to come to this position. We have tried a lot of times, 3, 4 times we tried. And let me tell you, when SCL Chandigarh was built up, TSMC was not even there. Taiwan was not even there in the roadmap of semiconductor. We were the early, as an Asian country, we were the first entrant into this semiconductor chip manufacturing, right? But we failed. Okay, fine. Failure is one thing. We need to forget it. We need to forget the past. We need to start once again. Every day is a new day for us. Every day is a fresh day for us. And I believe if that consistency is maintained, probably we will win the battle, we'll win the war, and we'll see the entire country is getting rejuvenated out of this semiconductor story. And this is what we all would love to see as a hardcore nationalist, as a hardcore Indian. I think what we all love to see that India grows eventually, and this will take us to our path of what we call developed country, Viksit Bharat, whatever our prime minister is, honorable prime minister is trying to see and portray. So let's hope that
Yes,
happens
yes,
quickly.
obviously. If we look back to our history, for a period of time, we were a Bixit country. As a country where we were much richer compared to many other part of the world, we can
Yeah,
achieve that thing.
we
I
can
mean,
bring those golden days back.
that thing, yes, that thing is very much in our blood, in our genes. So why cannot? Uh, I
Exactly.
don't know.
Correct.
I'm paranoid in that case. Like I'm hopeful, optimist, whatever you say. I'm
We all have
to
to be
extent of
optimistic. We all have to be optimistic. I think that is the way to move forward. Every day is a fresh,
yes,
new day,
yes,
fresh
yes,
day,
yes.
and
There is no
we
other
can.
way to live actually. So yes. Okay, I have completed all my questions. If you think I have missed anything, any point you want to discuss, please share. I always ask my guest.
No, I think Munmun. First of all, thank you so much to you and your Tech Simplified TV for bringing me on this platform. Uh, is allowing me to share my thoughts. I have been sharing with a lot of people in different capacities, with my colleagues, with my friends in the industry, and I believe that probably bringing it on a platform, on a YouTube platform, was something really was really I am obliged that this has happened. And more so, I believe that this will probably make, or maybe if it can make couple of students also more attracted towards the semiconductor field, semiconductor process, this will be a success. I look at it from that direction. I'm happy, I'm fortunate to be working with this Japanese organization, Horiba, because this organization has given me the platform to really unleash my potential into the semiconductor field. The organization has given me the opportunity to be into the thick of things, which is now right now the most important talk of the town, I should say. As an, it's a 73 years old organization. Globally, its head office is in Japan. In India, we are 20 years old, right? We are going to get 20. We are 19 plus. We are going to get 20 years old this year itself. So I believe that thanks to my organization, thanks to my leaders, my colleagues, from that perspective, and I think thanks to you and this your Tech Simplified TV for this platform. I think we should do more and more such kind of things whenever, everywhere we got to get an opportunity, and let's all be part of the national building process. That is what I can say.
Okay, thank you. Actually, yes, actually, that is the thing. That's why, because uh, I mean, it's a huge, the whole huge sector,
Yeah,
semiconductor
huge.
designing, manufacturing, component development, everything. So it's not really possible from one domain to know the other domain.
Yeah,
Then, but if
true.
we can, in a light-hearted mode, we can discuss technology.
Yeah,
That could be a good thing because, in fact, we what I find technical people, a part of their technology is not just a 9 to 6 job for
yeah,
us. It's our way of living, the way we think. So this kind of discussion I love, and I find few people are gradually, my viewership is increasing. It means that people are getting attracted to this kind of discussions,
Yeah.
conversation. So it's becoming more rewarding for us also.
That's
So
good.
yes, obviously, and juniors, who, I mean, obviously, Shah Rukh Khan and Sachin Tendulkar both are superstar in their own capacity, in their own domain.
Yeah.
But if a person who wants to, if a fresher engineer wants to build his career in VLSI design or manufacturing, how should he or she relate with Shah Rukh Khan or Sachin Tendulkar? He can only relate to the tech leaders.
Yeah.
So that is another point. I thought,
Yeah.
why don't I? Because I used to take guidance from my seniors, managers throughout my life, always.
Yeah.
So I think that works for many other people also. That is also another motivation, and to know what is happening. We started with Professor Miganko Gogoi from Assam. He is very
Yeah.
vocal in
I know.
LinkedIn. So first we approached him. Let's
Yeah.
start, and he is basically daredevil. He said yes. With a phone, he just sat and started the conversation. So this way we started. So that is the thing. I mean, let's continue the talk. Let's discuss.
Let's continue it. I know Mrigang very well, so I think yeah, I have. He's a great guy. He's doing fantastic in Assam.
Fantastic job. He is doing fantastic job. Because if he doesn't come and share his view, how could anyone from other state possibly
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Many
True.
times, even in LinkedIn, being in LinkedIn, not always we can under know what is happening on the other part of the country. It's a big country. We have a vast country, huge population. It's always good to hear from people who are doing the things at the ground level,
True.
isn't it? So that
True.
is the motivation to for TSP actually. Okay, so we had a very engaging session with you today, and honestly, I came to know a different part of the ecosystem, especially
Yeah.
manufacturing, from manufacturing aspect. Thank
Yeah.
you for your time on a Sunday
My.
evening. It's not
That,
really, leaders don't get time throughout the week, and I have occupied you in a Sunday evening also. That's you have given me
any time for semiconductor. Any time for semiconductor.
so nice of you. Okay,
And all
so
the
we
best.
are at the end of the session. Thank you, viewers, for staying up to this point. Don't try to don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the channel, and always follow the Tech Simplified TV and watch the Semiconductor Podcast. It's our domain, and we will make it better. We will understand it better, one conversation at a time. Thank you very much for staying up to this point. Thank you, and bye for today.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.